In this video, I'm going to show you how to add, remove, and manage your users on irritracker. So right now you can see I'm logged into the backend dashboard, and over here on the left-hand menu, there is a Users tab. Now, if you hover your mouse over that, you'll see a little gray down arrow. Click that arrow, and you'll see you have three options here: All Users, Your Profile, and Add New Users. So let's start with the Add New Users function. Click that link, and you'll go over to this page that allows you to add up to 15 new users at once. Now, there's a lot of information right here at the top of this page, mostly because it explains exactly what the permissions are for your different users, and also whether or not if you're adding an email along with a user, there's some extra information you need to know about that. And there's actually a separate video about adding users without email, and you'll see that link right here at the top. So if you need to add users without emails, there's a separate tutorial about that because it's a different process. As long as you have your emails for your users, though, you can go ahead and start adding them. Now keep in mind that there are 3 user roles: field reps, editors, and administrators. Field reps have very limited access to your irritracker application. They can create maps and they can add field notes, and that's it. These are just folks that you want, they're field reps. They're out in the field. They need to be able to add maps. They need to be able to add field notes. But really getting into the back end and making changes, there's probably going to be some people that you really don't want to have all that access to, or maybe never even sit down at an office computer to be able to do that. So that's your field reps. Next is your editors. And editors do exactly what it sounds like. They can edit existing maps, create new maps, and then add or edit field notes. So they have an extra level of permission where they can get in there and do some work on existing things that are submitted by your field reps. And then finally, there's administrators. And if you're the one who signed up for irritracker, then that is your default role. You're an administrator, which means you have unrestricted access to add, remove users, create, edit, delete maps, create, edit, delete field notes. You can basically do everything on the back end. So, it's recommended that you only have a limited number of administrators so that when changes are made on the back end, it's just easier to know who's making those changes, who's adding users, and kind of all funnel that through one place, through one person. So with that being said, let's go ahead and go down through this list, and I want to show you real briefly how to add users to the system. So the first thing is you'll need to create a username, and what I suggest is that you use first name, last name as their username. That's just going to make it really easy for you to identify them when you're managing all your users later. So let's create a user called John Samuels. I'll just make something up here. So if my employee's name was John Samuels, the username should be John Samuels, all lowercase, no spaces. Next, you'll put in their email. And I'm just going to make this up. And then give them a password. I recommend that you actually ask your users what they want their password to be before setting them up in here so that they don't forget it. They'll probably tell you something they use in a lot of places so they won't forget it. So once you have their password, you can put that in there, and then you just need to assign a role. Now there's administrators, editors, and field reps, and just make sure that you choose that for every single person. We're going to say John Samuels is a field rep. Now you can just go down through here and add up to 15 users at once. When you're done with all that, scroll down to the bottom and click the next button. Now it takes a little while for each of these users to be added. By a little while, I mean a few seconds each. But just click next. You'll get another message that says, wait on a second. We're processing the information right now, and that's it. That's how you add users. So let's go over and let me show you how to remove users and see all of your users in irritracker. Over here on the left, under users, is the link that says all users. Click that link, and here are the users that I've put in here. There's test 20. That's me. I'm the administrator. And then I added another test user, and I added, John Test, and then test user 2. And one thing to keep in mind is that you want to use unique email addresses for everyone that you're putting into the system. That's because the password reset function is associated with an email address. So you can't have more than one user on the same email address. Otherwise, the whole password feature gets messed up. And that video with that link on the last page that shows you how to create unique users references this strange looking email right here, and I explain why we have to use that for multiple users without email addresses. But let me just show you real briefly how to remove a user. It's real easy. You just hover your mouse over the name of the user and click the remove button. I'll click it right now. And it's going to ask you if you want to confirm the removal. And that's it. So if you have an employee that leaves the business and you don't want them to have access to your irritracker account anymore, it's just that easy to be able to get in there and change their info. Now, the only other user function that's back here is the Your Profile link. I'll click that real briefly. And you can see basically this just gives you a place to change your email address, change your password, change your first name, last name. You can't change your username. Once it's in there, that's permanent. And how do you want it to display your name? Do you want it to display it, by first name, last name, username? I went ahead and set mine to display name as my first name, last name, because that's what gets published on the maps. When I create a new map, it puts my whole name on there, and that's it. Hit update profile, and that's really it. That's all the user functions. So to add users, it's really simple. Just use the add new users page. To remove users, you'll just go to all users, and then you can remove each one of these as you see necessary, and then you can also update your profile. And that's it for the user management function.